in the heart of New York, where concrete giants loom and life pulses with relentless energy, Jasprit, a dedicated mechanical engineer, found solace in the fleeting embrace of his village during the holy holidays. But as the vibrant colors of celebration faded, reality pulled him back to the city, a place of both ambition and isolation. Music intensifies. At the bus stand, an eerie stillness enveloped him. The sun hung low in the sky, casting elongated shadows that danced menacingly across the cracked pavement. Jasprit sat, his heart drumming a nervous rhythm, waiting for his bus. Just then, an unsettling phenomenon unfolded. The lights flickered, a staccato of illumination that pierced the tranquil atmosphere. Confusion washed over him. What could cause such a sudden disruption? Something feels off here. A chilling sound pierced through the silence. "Hey, who's there?" he called, his voice trembling as fear crept up his spine. Then, from the corner of his eye, a shadow darted, a dog, its eyes glinting like shards of glass in the dim light. Panic surged through Jasprit, and he shouted, his voice echoing into the void like a desperate cry for help. The bus, a lumbering beast, arrived at that moment, its headlights illuminating the darkness. "What's wrong with you, brother? You trying to scare yourself to death?" The driver barked, a hint of annoyance lacing his words. Without a word, Jasprit snatched his bag and climbed aboard, desperation propelling him into the safety of the bus. He buried the memory of those flickering lights, and that haunting sound in the recesses of his mind, determined to shake off the unease. In the cramped bus, he fished out his phone, dialing his mother with trembling fingers. "Mom, it's me. Hello?" "Yes, I can hear you." His mother's voice crackled through the receiver, a lifeline amidst the rising tide of dread. "I just got on the bus." "Everything's fine. I'll call you when I reach the station," he assured her, though a knot of anxiety twisted in his stomach. "Don't worry about me," he added, but the words felt hollow, a flimsy shield against the encroaching darkness. As the bus rumbled down the desolate road, the world outside blurred into a ghostly haze. Shadows loomed and twisted, the trees bending in unnatural ways, as if they were whispering secrets meant only for the night. The road stretched endlessly, a winding serpent leading him deeper into an unsettling abyss. Music swells, a crescendo of foreboding. Jasprit's breath quickened, the atmosphere thick with an unshakable tension. He glanced out the window, half expecting to see something lurking just beyond his vision. Instead, all he saw was the darkness closing in, like a shroud ready to swallow him whole. And in that moment, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone. Something was waiting, watching, lurking just beyond the veil of normalcy. The flickering lights and the unsettling sound echoed in his mind, a haunting reminder that the line between reality and the unimaginable was thinner than he dared to believe. Music fades out, leaving only a chilling silence. It was around 12:30 a.m., and the bus groaned onward, carrying Jasprit across the dark, winding roads. He still had 40 kilometers to go, but fatigue washed over him like a heavy blanket, and he succumbed to sleep the moment he settled into his seat. Music begins, a soft, foreboding hum. However, tranquility shattered abruptly. A noise erupted from the back, jagged and unsettling, pulling him from the depths of his slumber. Jasprit squinted into the dimly lit cabin, trying to make sense of the sound. Ignoring it, he attempted to drift back into sleep, but the air thickened with a rancid stench that clawed at his senses. Music swells, a discordant note. He sat up, bewildered, scanning the bus until his gaze fell upon a peculiar figure hunched in the back seat. The man looked disheveled, his hair matted and clothes hanging loosely from his gaunt frame. What a strange guy, Jasprit thought, a shiver running down his spine. He looks like he hasn't bathed in ages. Gathering his courage, Jasprit asked, "How far are you going?" "To Tantpur railway station," the man replied, his voice a low rasp that sent a chill through the air. The bus felt eerily empty, the only other occupants the driver and the conductor, who seemed oblivious to the man's presence. Jasprit felt a creeping unease. The conductor hadn't even acknowledged him or checked for a ticket. Music shifts to a more unsettling tone. Frustrated by the persistent sounds emanating from the back, Jasprit fished out his earphones, desperate to drown out the chaos. Then whispers floated through the air, chilling him further. "Did you hear? A boy was found dead on this road just yesterday." "Oh yes, it must be him. The one who died in an accident here 3 months ago. Many people have seen him." The chilling conversation echoed in his mind, weaving a tapestry of dread. Music intensifies, a heartbeat-like rhythm. Jaspreet jolted awake again, this time to a scratching sound, an insistent clawing at the seat that set his heart racing. He was quickly losing patience. The man's noise was relentless. Determined to confront the source of his irritation, Jaspreet stood and walked over, his voice steady but laced with tension. "Hey, what's your problem?" Music pauses, tension fills the air. He watched the man closely, searching for any sign of understanding, hoping perhaps the disturbance would cease. But as he turned to return to his seat, an unsettling feeling washed over him, as if the shadows themselves were watching, waiting. Music swells once more, a sinister undertone enveloping the bus. Jaspreet sank back into his seat, his heart pounding, the scratching sound still echoing in the back of his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, caught in a web of fear that tightened with each passing moment, the darkness outside pressing in closer, as if eager to swallow him whole. Music begins, a haunting melody that reverberates through the night. As the bus lurched to a stop at Tantpur, Jaspreet stepped out into the eerie silence of the deserted station. The night air was thick with an unsettling stillness, and he turned to look behind him, only to find the strange man who had occupied the seat behind him had vanished without a trace. Confusion twisted like a knife in his gut. What just happened? He muttered to himself, eyes darting around the dimly lit platform. The man was right there. Where did he go? His mind raced, piecing together fragments of his memory. Maybe he slipped away while I dozed off. But how could I have missed it? The station's route should be this way, right? He pointed down the shadowy path leading into the night, trying to reassure himself. Music shifts to a more urgent tone. Feeling a shiver crawl up his spine, Jaspreet began to walk toward the station. The path was desolate, flanked by the silhouettes of long-abandoned buildings and overgrown weeds that seemed to claw at his ankles. "I shouldn't have come here," he whispered, unease gnawing at him. "Did I make a mistake buying a ticket to Tantpur? God, I need to reach the station quickly." The darkness felt alive, creeping closer as he moved, shadows flickering like ghosts in the corners of his vision. Every rustle of leaves, every whisper of wind sent his heart racing. Music swells, a brooding atmosphere settling in. Why is it so quiet? This place feels wrong, he thought, glancing over his shoulder, half expecting to see that unsettling figure behind him, watching from the shadows. This is a very deserted area. Too deserted. He quickened his pace, the sound of his footsteps echoing against the cold stone as the chill of the night seeped into his bones. Music intensifies, tension building. Suddenly the silence shattered with a distant, echoing laugh, low and mocking, a sound that sent a jolt of terror through him. Jaspreet froze, the blood draining from his face as panic gripped his heart. "Is someone there?" he called out, voice trembling as he peered into the darkness, searching for any sign of life. But the only response was the mocking laughter, echoing through the emptiness, wrapping around him like a shroud. Music reaches a crescendo, a pulse of impending dread. "Just get to the station," he urged himself, forcing his legs to move, every instinct screaming that he was being hunted. He felt the weight of unseen eyes boring into him, and he could almost hear the whispers of the night, taunting him with the secrets of the shadows. The path twisted and turned, the station still yet to appear, the laughter now a haunting melody in the darkness. As desperation clawed at him, Jaspreet couldn't shake the cold realization that something was waiting for him in the blackness beyond the reach of the feeble light. Music fades into a chilling silence, leaving only the sound of his ragged breath and the echo of that sinister laugh.